No, still no funny start. I've tried all the way home on the bike to think of a funny way of starting the video, but I can't think of one. So here we are, here I am, it's Andrew, and welcome to bench update stroke unboxing. Now, you know what the unboxing is. It's a Range Rover. It's in the title of the video, so I'm not going to try and pretend all surprised and stuff, but no, I knew I was going to do that. But it's a Range Rover unboxing, and this is not a Range Rover. This is its arch enemy, isn't it? Well, pretty much its arch enemy, the G-Wagon lookalike from Bad Bull. Now, from Horrible. Why am I showing you this? From Killer Body. Why am I showing you this? I don't really know, but I like it. So that's a good reason to show it, isn't it? I'm showing you this because, this is the chassis that the Range Rover is going to go on. This is the chassis. This is my Axial 10.2 kit version, not the builder's kit, not that, I'm going to say Horrible, not that one. It's the proper Cherokee kit. All these bits of cables hanging out of my cars. It's not good, is it? It's not right. It's not big or clever. Don't copy it, children. And he's kind of gassing himself, no, electrocuting himself. Anyway, so this is the chassis. So I'm going to take the shell off, and I'm not sure how many more times you're going to see the Bad Bull, to be honest with you. I'd like to run it a bit more, but this is the chassis the Range Rover is going to go on, or at least I'm going to try and put it on. Hopefully it will fit and all will be good. So without further ado, I'm going to take this off, and you can have a look at my dusty 10.2 chassis. Now, the reason I'm going to put this this is the chassis for the job, is because I would consider this, or I did consider this, my best 4B chassis. It's certainly my oldest. I have had some good times with this chassis, and it still has a lot of life left in it. However, the TRX chassis under the Unimog did impress me greatly. So yeah, so that's got the Unimog, and this deserves something nice and fancy, and kind of a bit more advanced than a Lexan shell on it. So I am, I was shopping around, looking around, spent a long time mulling over what I was going to put on it, and I was talking to Steve at RC Crawlers Mid Wales. We talk a lot, and I kept talking about the Range Rover. I kept saying I'm going to get Range Rover. It's really the best looking hard body shell, the most accurate looking hard body shell. I do like the Cherokee shells, but I've got the Comanche, and I started off with a Cherokee shell on this, so I don't really want to go back there again. Now, we went to see Steve a couple of weekends ago, me and Tel, and it was my birthday a week or two before that. And unbeknown to me, he got me a birthday present, and you can guess the moral of the story, right? You can guess what the birthday present was. So in a remarkably unexpected burst of generosity, he'd ordered me a Range Rover shell from Asia Tees. Now, I think it probably just so he qualified for some free shipping. That's what I think. But the gesture is appreciated and will not be forgotten. I'm not promising it'll be reciprocated, but it'll not be forgotten. I'm certainly not going to confess to it on the camera. So, without further ado, let's get the bits out. I'm sure you've seen Range Rover unboxings 100 times. If you're vaguely interested, there are lots of them around. So I'm not going to pour you through all the bits and bobs. There's an awful lot of bits in here. If you're expecting me to pull a Range Rover out and show you, it's not going to happen, right? There's bits all over the place. So yes, very important to, I think to get an idea as to how big this shell is. The Axial 10.2 is no, it's a fairly standard sized chassis, 313mm wheelbase, of course. And these are roughly about 105, 106 eBay clone Proline Swampers. They're not the real Proline ones, they're much bigger. So these are about 106s or so, just to give you a sort of idea as to how it fills the wheel arches and so on. So there's you get the big one-piece front shell. So you need to take the front bumper off this, But you can see already that it's not going to be, you know, it's going to look, as a lot of the Instagram pictures and people have already made, the truck actually does look, it does seem to suit around 100mm, 105mm tyres really well. Obviously they're a bit big for genuine scale, you know, genuine scale would have them fairly small, I think, 155s would be my guess, and you know, maybe more along the 90mm size. You know, cars have got tiny tyres, especially from this sort of era. It does. There's a little bit of wheel bulge coming out of these, but these are quite fat tyres. I'd probably be aiming to get a little bit thinner tyres. But yeah, that's you know, that's not a bad little fit. I mean, it sits behind the bumper. Obviously, that'll come off. This is the 5-door version, let me tell you, and we can see that when I bring out one of the body parts. Body parts. Sound like Dexter. One of the body sides, the shell sides there. You can see the door is moulded in there, so it doesn't open or anything. But so that's going to go on then. It bolts on. You can see that. I can see the bolt at the top here. It's going to bolt up at the top of the windscreen, and it's going to sit on there. So it's a fairly substantial thing. Yeah, it is pretty substantial. It doesn't have a great deal of taper to the roof, you know. So what you know, it's kind of it's the same width all the way up, I guess is what I'm saying. So you compare, when I compare this to the Bad Bull shell, you can see there's a kind of, you know, the wheel arches are pretty much, you know, the Range Rover is the same width as the whole of the Bad Bull, but obviously that tapers in heavily after the wheel arches. So yeah, it's going to be a good old size. Definitely going to be a good old size. Now, most of the complexity in this shell does appear to be around the sort of bracing, the interior, the back doors which open, the hatch opens and everything else. So yeah, bring the here's the roof. So it's, again, it says my hand, it's quite a big piece. You know, these are big, chunky. A whole bunch of nuts and bolts. Let me just show you quickly the nuts and bolts bag. So there's all the fixings. Can you see that? Can you make that out? I hope the camera's focusing. I haven't got my glasses on. But there's an awful lot of nuts and bolts in there, just to give you an idea as to how complicated this build is going to be. It is not just a shell. So there's all, I mean, yeah, there's tons of stuff. Look, there's the other side. There's the bonnet, of course. What I want to show you, what I'm rummaging about for particularly, is some tailgate frames. I think that's some chassis braces and some body shell braces, and the tailgate radiator to go behind the grille. More bracing. Here we go. This is the bit I wanted to show you specifically. I wanted to show you the bumper, because one of the big questions I had with the difference between the original 3-door and the 5-door, slightly later version of the Range Rover. Apparently it didn't replace the 3-door. I think it was called the original. I can't remember. They put a name on that 3-door, fairly basic, you know, meant for farmers. Truck. But then when they released, you know, a couple of, you know, a good few years later, they released the 5-door, and it was kind of, you know, known as the Vogue. You know, it was the Vogue version, and it was much more luxurious and much more, you know, fancy seats, 5 doors, tinted windows, better wheels, all that kind of stuff. And it had a chin spoiler on it with fog lights in it, and here it is. So I really wanted this, because one of my pet hates with RC trucks is that the shell ends at the bumper and then there's nothing, just some RC gubbins underneath, and you can't. It's not convincing enough for me anymore. I really would like to see, you know, a car has a rounded front. I mean, obviously, unless it's a heavily modified, you know, off-roader, but this shell comes with a hard, and I wasn't sure what this material was going to be like, but a nice hard chin spoiler with the fog light inserts, and it comes with the lenses, so you can wire some fog lights into here as well, which should be really cool. So that's going to go, that's actually going to clip in there somewhere. I guess there's the bumper that sits between it, and it sits in. It's kind of. I think it might sit a bit like that. Okay. I can't really show you with the chassis bumper on it. So this might be my first hard body shell that doesn't have chassis bumpers on it, steel, rough and ready bumpers on. It's going to have the kit shell bumper, which I'm going to be a little wary of that. Obviously, not as strong as metal ones. So yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, I hate to say that; it's a horrible way of saying very excited. So let's just say very excited. Moving forward, thank you. So yeah, I'm really kind of keen. What have you done? Oh, are you kidding me? Well, it seems the chassis is already getting into the whole Range Rover concept, the whole Land Rover family. What has happened under here? Oh, look. Really? I've got an oil leak already. Well, fortunately, I've come prepared with my own drip tray. So I'll put the drip tray down, so in case it leaks any further. It's already getting into the spirit of being a Range Rover or a Land Rover family member. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So the instrument panel is one thing I'm going to change. Let me just show you this, how that's going to fit in there. You see, this is the beauty of having. It's quite a novel thing for me to have an interior that's designed for the truck I'm building. It doesn't seem to happen very often to me. So, oh, look at that. Look at how that fits in there. So it just pushes into the front part of the shell on some runners. It probably screws in as well if it's not terribly necessary. So that's going to be a lovely tight fit. Obviously, there's a lot of floor work to do, and it's although this motor and gearbox is lower than the builder's kit, it's still not all that low. It's certainly not a forward mounted setup like some of the newer chassis are these days. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but as far as the interior goes, I'm gonna do a fair bit of work in there. One of the other reasons I wanted this 5-door version is to do it as a Vogue, as a kind of posh version. I don't know whether it even came as anything but the posh version, which had big velour seats with armrests and headrests and all the rest of it, stuff that you don't get in the standard basic 3-door Range Rover. So what I've chosen to do instead is to get the Land Cruiser interior that Steve has in his LC80 that I mentioned. It's a little smaller width-wise than this shell, which is great. So it's going to fit in. It's a tub. It's just a bit. I'll put a picture of it up. It's just a big tub with some beautiful seats in it and a big, beautiful bench seat at the back. I've no doubt I'm going to have to hack various parts of it out to fit over this engine and to fit over the wheel arches and all the rest of it. I'm sure there's going to have to be an awful lot of jiggery-pokery to get it to fit. Worst case, I'll just take the seats out and make a floor, or I'll do something. But that's going to be ordered from Asia Tees very shortly, and I want proper big luxury looking seats in this thing. I do not want Recaro sports seats. I don't want bucket racing seats. So this was really the only option I could find. So yeah, I'm going to have door cards in it. I'm going to do the back windows are going to be heavily tinted, so the stuff in the back's not really going to matter too much. I'm not going to be bothering with opening tailgates and all that kind of stuff. They're just going to flap open at the worst moment. So there's nothing like having your flaps hanging up. I mean, your doors hanging open. But obviously having the whole thing in the shell is going to be a problem. To lift the shell off, I want the interior to come with it, ideally. And that's, I think, going to be where the real challenge lies, is getting it all into the shell and fitted so that it can be lifted on and off. So in terms of colour, it's going to be brown. I'm going to take a little bit of an artistic license with the brown, depending on what colour I can actually get and obviously how it comes out. But the aim is it's going to be a kind of metallic brown with hints of bronze, copper kind of end of the spectrum. I think the stock browns were a much darker, muddier colour, and I wanted to just be a little bit nicer, a little bit more sparkly, for if I can use a professional term. And yeah, I'm going to put some pro lines on it. I'm looking at maybe flat irons, or I want a kind of blocky tread, nothing too aggressive, but something relatively capable. I don't want this thing sliding around on the rocks in Wales, so it's going to be something relatively capable, but not a step up from all terrains, for example. Put it that way. Much as I like the all terrains and the tread pattern, and it's so scale it hurts, but it would need to be something just a little bit better with the mud clearing, and so something a little, nothing like these, nothing as aggressive as this. Yeah, it'll probably be a 1.9 for that reason. Yeah, I think it'll be a 1.9. It may not be on new rims. I have got some in mind, some lovely black spoked ones, but I have a budget, and you know, throwing money on the rims may not be the answer. So I have got plenty of half sensible rims. Hell, even these ones. I like hubcaps. You see, I don't like to have axle threads and nuts sticking out, as it were. Anyway, so there you go. So that's how the Range Rover sits on the chassis, and I hope you agree it could very easily be exceedingly spectacular. Progress will be slow. I did mention having a budget. Well, I'm having to wait for clearance for that budget from Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, who are currently taking all of my money. So once they've done with me and kicked me out, left me bloodied and tattered on the road, I will be funneling money into Asia Teas as fast as I can, and at that point I'll start with the interior, and we'll start seeing some build updates coming along. The Range Rover building, there should be one if there isn't one. The Range Rover build is almost a go. Let's say almost. This doesn't count, does it? Or does it? Maybe this counts. Maybe this is building. Is this building? What do you think it shows so far? What do you think of it? Rubbish. Okay, right. Enough already. I'm sure you don't need to see me again. I'm down here. I'm up here. Here I am. And yeah, thank you and good night. And stay tuned. I think Tel's cracking on with his Jeep as well, which is really good. We've got a couple of Wales videos. The Unimog, Tel's Land Rover is probably going to make another appearance, I think, on the run video scene. So yeah, keep the bell ticked, clicked, whatever you do with it. I don't know. I need to ask a young person, I know. But yeah, stay tuned. And thanks everyone for watching the MC video. And before I go, I just want to say thanks to everyone. I mean, 300 views for us. That's massive. So yeah, well stoked with that. And thank you all for watching it. More and on. Stay tuned. Cheers, bye. Cheers, bye. God, I'm so professional at this. It hurts. All right, goodbye. Thanks for watching. Catch you soon.